Hey guys, Tuna here for the First and Tuna podcast. Just a friendly reminder before we dive into today's topics that I've gone ahead and labeled every chapter, every section of this episode, as well as every episode that we will have moving forward. The purpose of that is, it's going to be multiple different topics. Sometimes I know you as a viewer don't want to listen to me yap at the beginning. Well, everything's going to be categoried out for you. Just look in the description below for timestamps. Whether you're here on YouTube or Spotify, it will be in the description for you. Today we got our yap session / review reaction of the Rams vs. Packers game, which we were there at Sofi, our first visit to Sofi, so it was a lot of fun. Talk about that a little bit. We're going to go through our fan response / questions of the week. We're going to do a check-in, a quarter season check-in on our inaugural Tuna Bowl, which is our very first fantasy football league for the First and Tuna podcast. And finally, we fit the last half of this video is some all 22 breakdown that you guys have been requesting of the Rams and Packers game. Today is just going to be on the offensive side, some of the issues that I was seeing. We're going to save defense and a deeper dive of the offense for tomorrow's video. So feel free, skip ahead to your little heart's desired, whichever section you want. But please do me a favor, like this video, subscribe for future content, and enjoy. Let's go. Week 5 is done. Felt like just yesterday that I was sitting here week after week talking about can't wait for football. And now we are just a little over 25, 22. What is that math? What's 5 divided by 18? 35. Somewhere around 22%, I think. Math is hard. According to my analytics department, we're a little over 22% done with the NFL season. Rams lost, so that wasn't cool. But the Niners lost as well in a game which they definitely should have won. I'm sitting there. We'll jump into my SoFi experience. But sitting there during the Rams game, fourth quarter, unsure if they're going to make the comeback. They're just starting to build momentum, and TV timeout happens, and I'm like trying to find something good to be excited about because things aren't going that well for the Rams. And I checked the score and that the Niners had just lost. And I turned to a Packers fan behind me. I was like, "Hey, man, despite everything you're yelling in my ear all game, I know there's one thing we can agree on. Glad the fucking Niners lost." So that was cool. Got the bond with some Packers fans in my vicinity about the Niners losing, which I do have to emphasize, Packers fans around me. It seems a lot of LA fans are learning proper etiquette when watching a Rams football game. You want to be obnoxious and loud when your team's on defense, and you want to shut the fuck up when your team's on offense. Think back to Peyton Manning days in Indy, where he's literally going like this to the crowd, waving his arms frantically to shut the hell up so that way he can do his calls and audibles at the line. That's just a ranting of a mad Rams fan. But overall, like, getting to go, my first experience at SoFi, tailgating was incredible. Only tailgating I got to experience as an NFL fan was Niner games, going to Levi, seeing a little bit of Indy, and a little bit of when they used to be in Oakland for the Raiders. I gotta say, this experience at the Rams topped all of that. And I've been to a Rams-Niners Monday Night Football game, prime time at Levi, and it beat even that one for just a regular Sunday versus from out of town team or across the country team. That was pretty impeccable. That was pretty incredible. Obviously gonna have great food. Everyone was super friendly, like all across the board. I think that was Rams World Order, Rams World Tour, Prokes Barbecue. God, who else was on there? Rep LA. Just so many good people. Man, incredible. From there, also got to finally got to meet a former guest in person, Bryce Todd. That's one of the Rams photographers. Shout out to BT. We got some cool photos. We did get some game day pics of Tuna arriving at the stadium, so be on the lookout for that. But the true highlight of the entire SoFi experience, for you dedicated Rams independent followers, listeners, the OG himself, Rams showcase, Sheriff Joe Baggs. He made his way all the way to from Colorado for the Rams game, along with his good buddy. And the fact being able to meet him, hang with him, have a beer with him, just chat, was really fucking cool. The person you see on that screen, Sheriff Joe Baggs, is the exact same person in real life. Super cool, super down to earth. Was just probably one of the coolest people I've met in a long time. Thanks for the towel, the little Ram Showcase rally towel. Thanks for the tips. Thanks for the pointers, man. You are a true OG, and I appreciate you. Shout out to Ram Showcase. Check out his link, information in the description below. I feel very appreciative after going to a lot of crappy stadiums, seeing that, okay, this is our home stadium. Like, this is awesome. And then the game starts, and you see all the cheeseheads, and then you get hit. Then you get hit with the reminder that it is going to be a work in progress. Rams coming back to Los Angeles after being gone for so long. It's going to take a while for it to be just a true home field advantage for these teams. But that's besides the point when it comes to the crowd noise. Overall, somewhat frustrating of a game as a fan. From a defensive standpoint, you expect a certain caliber of defense from the Rams after seeing a decade of Aaron Donald, a decade of just plethora of stars come through that defense, getting hit with a reminder every week that, hey, you got to be patient with this defense because a number of reasons. Very young defensive front. They're super disruptive, super talented, and hell of fun to watch. But they're going to make some mistakes. You're going to have missed tackles. You're going to have blown assignments just out of youthfulness. And that's okay because that front line, man, they play so aggressive and dominant. The back end, a little bit similar. You got a mix of some veterans, but all in all, like, they're going to have some mistakes simply because you have Shula as a rookie DC back there. But the bane of a lot of fans' pain points and all everyone's been talking about for weeks and weeks is that linebacker position. Troy Reader, Christian Roseboom, not having the greatest game yet again. I am being extremely PC when it comes to describing how they played. The amount of memes, the amount of just very, very, very not good tweets that came out. And I'm pretty sure if you look at my Twitter, absolutely nothing but, great things to say about those gentlemen. Their gameplay, at least. Remember, we don't speak ill on players. We only critique gameplay. That's it. But yeah, despite all the flaws, despite all the missed opportunities, the fact that this game came down to, again, a classic Matthew Stafford game of, hey, got the ball less than 2 minutes, down the field. And it felt like it was going to happen. We dive into a little bit with the film in a few minutes here of kind of what happened at the end there. Kind of came down to offensive line play. The offensive line play is really going to bite you in the ass in those critical moments. Like, you could win a play here, win a play there, scheme up some run plays, some play action to protect Stafford, protect the running backs. But ultimately, it's going to come down to, can your offensive linemen win those one-on-one battles? Can they pick up the blitz in those critical moments? Sometimes there's only 4 or 5. Absolutely have to have it or you lose the game. Critical moments in every game. That ultimately came down to the Rams line not picking it up in time. Stafford throwing an incompletion to Colby Parkinson, the last play of the game on offense for them, at least on a 4th down. And kind of like, you're sitting there as a Rams fan and you're just like, man, if shoulda, woulda, coulda, right? If they kick that field goal instead of going for it on 4th down, if they don't miss the extra point, if they don't get sacked and kicked out of field goal range in the 3rd quarter. It's all hindsight, obviously, being perfect vision. The week before, they took those field goals and didn't go for it on 4th down. Still lost. You can't play that, take the points game simply because adding those points at the final score, that's not how football works. That's ignoring the other team's response. Punting and them taking the ball at the 10 or the 5 and us not scoring versus a kickoff because, oh, damn, they got points. Like, maybe the game plan shifts. Maybe their next 5 or 6 plays are different. Now the game is completely different after that point. It's frustrating as a Rams fan because you're trying to point to one issue because usually you're expecting wins. You're expecting playoffs. Hell, you're expecting a Super Bowl ring out of these teams. But you have to take a step back, look at, like, man, despite them not playing their best football, they're still 1 or 2 plays away from winning this game, 1 or 2 plays away from winning last week. So we'll do our best. We'll take a look at it. But those are just kind of my takeaways, initial reactions right away. SoFi is great. Was super awesome to watch Matthew Stafford. And speaking of Matthew Stafford, man, I'm going to go on a little bit of a tangent. This is not even just Rams related. This is just purely football related as just an appreciative fan. Something I realized during the week. I feel a lot of us refuse to appreciate greatness while it's here. We wait until guys are retired or a guy gets traded, and we look back like, oh, I wish this guy was still on our team. Like, oh man, I miss this person on my team. What kind of made that click was watching Bill Belichick content. As weird as that sounds to say, he's no longer coaching the Patriots. He's now doing media more and more. He's got his own shows. He's doing stuff at ESPN, Pat McAfee. And the fact that this guy just came off the greatest dynasty in NFL, hell, in sports history, a reign of terror on the NFL for 2 decades, along with Tom Brady. And now he's doing, just almost uncensored press runs, talking about meeting drama, talking about stuff like just his mindset as a coach, openly doing candid interviews, sharing draft stories from the quarterback room. Every week there's nuggets, and he's giving that to us, even though someone like me grew up hating the Patriots, right? You really have to appreciate the amount of post-coaching, his post-coaching tenure right now. And that goes for players too. You look at guys like Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady when he just recently retired, and even Matthew Stafford. I'll throw his name in the mix. We're always so quick to judge or compare someone of like, oh, he's not top 5 all time because of so and so, or he can't do this, but he sucks at this. Like, we get so angry when our team starts 1-4, we almost forget to sit and appreciate greatness. I know it sounds really, really dumb to say amidst a loss and a 1-4 record, but it's something I'm currently practicing and trying to do with Matthew Stafford. There's always conversation he's thrown into. He's not a Hall of Famer. Stat Padford. He's thrown a lot of interceptions, but it's like, this is a Hall of Famer. There's only been 34 starting quarterbacks all time to ever have a Super Bowl ring, and he is one of them. Think of how many years you've watched football, how many quarterbacks, starting quarterbacks, backup quarterbacks. There's only been 34 starting quarterbacks all time to have ever gotten a Super Bowl win. His level of professionalism, understanding how to manipulate defenses, and just be a pure professional quarterback. You never feel like you're out of the game. Like, despite how you feel about the team, like it came down the last 2 minutes, and every Rams fan was like, Stafford has the ball. Like, we're about to go win this game. Win or lose, man, I enjoy watching Rams games so much right now just because a Hall of Famer is at quarterback. So, like I said, a little bit of a rant. Whatever team you root for, find something you genuinely love about the sport, about your team, and just love it. The culture, a player, a play. Like, it doesn't matter what it is. And that goes into just us hating on stuff so much. Like, just find one aspect that you love and just love that shit and share it with other people. So that's what I love. Sharing it with you. So, anywho, let's jump into some actual fun stuff. Our last segment before we jump into the All 22 is the Tuna Bowl 2024. So this is a snapshot pre-Week 5 concluding. But as of right now, I may or may not be in second to last place in my own league. So with these standings up, I just want to give a shout out to a lot of these guys that joined the league. Kind of launched this in secret. Mix of this is people from my personal life. Some of these are a mix from as First and Tuna has been created and decided, hey, let's just keep this going. I want to do this every single year. Let's just do a fantasy league. And who we've got in here, we've got Corn Doggy, LOL, the infamous artist, football artist. Love him to death. Thank you, Corn Doggy. BT Productions. BT's been on this podcast before. He does brilliant work. Make sure to check out his Instagram. And then you got a lot of longtime pals of mine. You got Miguel, Carlos, Mike, Keyshawn, just to name a few. And then wanted to include some of the community because there's a lot of people that have jumped on my channel very early and have shown a lot of support. If not the first one, Drew Nakua. Him jumping in, being the first to buy a hat, being the first just to support and constantly be there. Appreciate you. Almost nominating you as #1 fan right now. So thanks for being part of the Dynasty League as well. We'll just kind of take a snapshot of where we are in this league so far, who's doing completely fucking horrible, who's doing well, and how your favorite Tuna is doing. In first place is my good friend Joseph. I hate you for being in first place. He's got, who's he playing this week? He's actually playing a longtime friend of mine, Miguel. That's Jimmy Pesto's Pizzeria. So there's a lot of deep lore that happened in this, the naming of this fantasy league very quickly, thanks to Corn Doggy, who likes to call himself Bob's Burgers, likes to role play as Bob Belcher. So Miguel, being a villain, decided to be Jimmy Pesto's. So respect. In last place is Sir Corn Doggy. I don't know what you got going on, man. We gotta figure this out, because I don't know. For someone who's got the Christian McCaffrey drafter, tough luck. Sucks to suck. At least I'm not last, even though I am in the second to last place. So yeah, we got 12 more weeks to go, or 10 in fantasy, whatever it ends up being. But yeah, just wanted to give a shout out to the first Tuna Inaugural Fantasy League. All right, in a part that we reached out to fans on Instagram. If you're not following us on Instagram, got the socials somewhere here on the screen. What is something about football that to this day you're still confused about? Just have a question about here in 2024. Some responses were very insightful. Some of them were very fan driven. Let's look at some of my favorites. Dova 106SO, good friend Will from Stockton. Shout out Will. The coin toss should be rock, paper, scissors. I think that makes for some great strategy. Now, are we talking just straight up like first one, like one shot? Is it best of 3, best of 5? Somehow I feel like the referees would still favor the Kansas City Chiefs. Big Head Jiu-Jitsu, shout out to Celso, another Stockton native. Why Raiders fans insist that they have a good future? Don't know. Ask any Raiders fans. They are waiting for new ownership, whether forcibly or at his own will. I'll just say that. Drew Nakua said, why McVay is a savant between the 20s and remedial in the red zone. Thank you for your choice of words. I believe that is politically correct. Actually, we talk about that a little bit today. Passing game works throughout the field because they can doctor a lot of stuff up to help the O-line. And I think that's very, very critical for where they're at right now. Quentin Lake Worshipper 37. I think I know where this question is going to go. Why don't the Rams let Quentin play linebacker since we got no LB? I'm sure the GOAT could. I'm going to assume they could do it. Yeah, Quentin Lake is leading tackler. Shout out Lake, and very fantastic username, Quentin Lake Worshipper. I'm going to assume I know who your favorite player is. Joe God 90, I'm confused that no one can see TJ Watt being held constantly. I'm going to assume you're a Steelers fan. I agree. I think TJ Watt is the best defensive player in the league right now. And I think it is very stupid when people just block him with only a tight end or block him with only one person. Like, just block him with 2. Just make that your whole game plan. Iris asked, why do people still hate on Purdy? I don't know. I don't know if it's the Niners fan base. I don't know if it's just people don't like good things and they like to complain. I think Purdy is a top 5, top 7 quarterback. I've talked about it a bunch here, but yeah, I don't know why. Oh no. I'm sorry, Art. Choking in 3 Super Bowls. This turned into a Niners therapy session, didn't it? Yeah, I don't know, man. But Rams fan in me, I am not too mad about it. Something to go along with the real answer. Patrick Mahomes. Yeah, you run into Patty Mahomes too many times, man. It's gonna get you. I'm loving this so far. This is actually some good stuff. Mahmoud asked Raiders. That's it. It's just one word. Raiders. I feel like knowing you're a Raiders fan, I can tell it's not a chant. It's not out of like happiness. It's Raiders. Oh man. David asked, why isn't there more footing? So this question is spectacular because I can't tell if this is an improper use of the word foot. Like, are you expecting more feet involved, like soccer, or footing as if like you're asking about the grass situation because guys are constantly slipping. Fantastic. Don't know which question's asking. Why? I'll go with the foot question because feet are boring, and if you're into feet, shame on you, and you're weird. I'll just leave it at that. Gaming Nomad asks, how the hell did the Rams beat the Niners with the practice squad? Hey, shout out Matthew Stafford. I think I saw somewhere where somebody said Matthew Stafford's thrown to a bunch of 7-Eleven employees and beat the Niners. I don't respect calling our wide receivers 7-Eleven employees. Love those guys, but yeah, Niners should not have lost that game 2 weeks ago. Pamela Billy asked, why don't we play Blake Corum? And also asked, what is a catch? The Rams game had 2 situations where we still don't know what a catch is in 2024. Like, the eye test doesn't work anymore. Just, it needs to be fan voted at this point. Like, real time. Was that a catch? Yes or no? Popular vote wins. I don't even care anymore. Just do something with it. And last but not least, Corn Doggy LOL asked, why do teams have more than one running back? I could tell this is fantasy related. I could tell you're stressed out about your team. I need you to talk about it in therapy. I need you to talk about it with your family. Don't draft running back by committee. Just don't even draft running backs anymore. That's my fantasy advice. Bench them all. Don't even start them. Leave those spots empty, and I promise you'll do good. Yeah, thanks everybody that sent questions, concerns, vents in. I do like doing this. Maybe we do it every week. Maybe we do it every once in a while as a therapy check-in. But thanks guys for submitting those, and yeah, let's move on. Usually we're gonna do a full all 22. Today we're just gonna focus on some of the key plays, the key issues I saw on offense for the Rams. Full defense and even deeper dive on the offense is gonna come tomorrow on the next episode. Look out for that one. But for now, thanks for hearing me yap. Let's jump into some film. Let's try to get smarter together. So we actually have 2 run plays setting up to 3rd and 4th down passes that ended this drive for the Rams. Fans calling for run the ball. In the red zone, well, they do try. The issue is that when they are doing it, based on actually the results from the 10 and in, they're kind of forced to pass. Looking at this one, this ends up only going for 2 yards. This is 1st and 8. This is 1st and goal at the 8-yard line. They started doing this. You get similar motion, kind of toss, dive to give him a little bit more time. He only gets 2 yards. You can sit here and argue whether this is Kyron Williams' fault because he didn't cut where he was supposed to. His mistakes are few and far between, but ultimately just not enough push, not enough happening here in the middle to warrant trust running between the tackles again, or as consistently as fans keep calling for. When I'm showing you these plays, we're honestly really going to look at these 3 in the middle: Dotson, Limmer, and Bruss. On this play in particular, they don't get the most push. You're going to get a little bit of help here on 97. Doesn't really go anywhere. Works himself up to number 7 here. But he's still engaged. 7 is still in a lane, making Kyron feel the need to go ahead and move to the right into other tacklers. That wasn't sealed off the best either, so only gets 2 yards. Following play, now it's 2nd and goal from the 6. Going to get a similar result. We're only going to get 2 yards here, and the focus again is going to be on the interior linemen. Looking here, we're going to get 2 sets of double teams. We're going to get these 3 and these 3. So 97 and 94 are both going to get double teamed, but watch how much room they don't give up. It's a stone wall. One more time, a little slower because I like to explain things like I'm smarter than you guys. Double team here. Double team here. You'd like to see a little bit of traction of them going that way. Does not happen. Kind of getting stonewalled there. And these two doing the best thankless job of a defensive lineman, just stonewalling, making it messy up here. Now you've got four offensive linemen only blocking two. That leaves 58 and 7 free to just run fill and get in the backfield, so that way Kyron can't really have a big play. Very, very messy there. So that is just your basic run in the middle. Get your doubles team. That's like your standard inside run play. Unsuccessful in two different plays back to back, which forces the Rams to feel, all right, let's go for a pass. What they end up doing, they end up throwing it through the back of the end zone, missing Parkinson high. All right, what we got here, this is post motion. You got Parkinson down at the bottom. He's going to run his route to the back of the end zone. What I want to kind of look at is Mr. Whittington, though. So he's doing his best, Cooper Kupp or Puka Nacua impersonation. Basically, the whole wide receiver core is doing their best to pick up the slack in their absence. This route here, he ends up getting jammed at the goal line. Zero separation. So when Stafford goes to potentially look at him, or maybe would want to, just not open. Why is that important? Because on the next play, they're going to run a very similar concept, and we'll look at what Whittington does. The only thing that he could have done differently on this play, I mean, hindsight, maybe it wasn't even in the read, maybe it wasn't supposed to come open. Tutu Atwell ends up flashing open. If Stafford maybe holds it for a second, but again, asking a quarterback to hold the ball longer than 3 seconds is sometimes a death sentence. Also, by the time he truly becomes open, about right here, you don't know if Quay Walker, the middle linebacker, is going to react with him, or if this corner is going to react and turn that into a hospital ball, which, potentially puts Tutu in the hospital because he gets hit very hard. But they saw something they liked. They go to this similar concept on the next play. 4th down, we're going to get a similar concept, like almost exactly the same. You're going to get motion, Parkinson, back of the end zone, ball thrown too high, no PI. But people are looking at, outside the red zone. This ball is going to go to Whittington up top here. Why is the passing game working so well outside the red zone? Well, a lot of different factors. You could run longer developing plays like this one. Defense is spread out a little bit further. You can run play action more efficiently to game and help the offensive line. Especially when you throw towards the boundary, or usually deeper plays. Sometimes it ends up just being beat your man. Like, beat the one guy that's responsible for you and carving your route. Be better than him, get leverage, and just beat that one guy. Versus when you're doing things that in the middle of the field. Usually, I think with this offense, that comes with a little bit better understanding schematically of what linebackers and safeties are doing on given plays and coverages. This plays like that as well. Hey, there's no one there, just keep running. If there's a linebacker there, now you got to sit. Well, how far in do you sit? Well, it kind of depends on where he's sitting, how high the safety is. There's more factors to it. You get really cool looking plays like this one when there's no linebacker in the way, just keep running. But if there was, all right, then you got to sit. Again, another example of, passing towards the boundary, just beat your one guy out there. Kind of takes a little bit less brain power for receivers and quarterbacks to be on the same page. Demarcus Robinson up top here, probably with the catch of the game, like really, really sick. He's going to run a deep out route here after a nice little stutter step and get open. And then he gets flipped at the top of the route. Pick this up. Boom. Catch. Gets flipped over. First down. Again, and this is a good play by the offensive line, kind of handling a little stunt there. Going to stay after enough time to make a deep pass. That was nice. And yet you're probably still asking, well, okay, if it's that intricate, if it's that confusing, just, pound the ball even harder. Why aren't they just running it more in the reds? Like, that same question keeps popping up. Again, unless Kyron's making one or two guys miss either at or behind the line of scrimmage, which happens often in this game, there might be concerns from McVay as a play caller on the interior line consistently winning their battles in the trenches. It's not a blight on them, but just that realization of, hey, we're having trouble. We may have to go the other options in the red zone and try our luck there. Just kind of running through some stats here based on running between the tackles for the Rams in this game in particular. Not counting the final 5 minutes when the defense is set back in pass heavy coverage. Out of the 15 runs in between the tackles, 15 qualified runs between that zone, only 5 of them gained at least 4 yards in the entire day. 10 of those were 3 yards or less. League average is 4.4 yards per carry. Those bigger gashes or longer runs were outside the tackles, or they were the few that were longer came off of a Kyron Williams or Blake Corum, make someone miss, not even at the line of scrimmage, but almost at the handoff on 2 particular plays. So 10 of those being 3 or less yards. League average is 4.4 yards this year so far per carry, just in general. I don't count a successful play unless it's at least 4 yards. Not a successful run. That's happening consistently in this game, despite Kyron Williams' great numbers to start the season. Like, he deserves more credit. Like, he's a wizard. Offensive line does do good things in flashes, but just not as consistently as they'd like to in the red zone yet. And then to kind of emphasize this point, here, even Kyron's first touchdown of the day, the play before, he had Blake Corum. He did good work on this drive, had a great showing out, work up the middle, but he just doesn't happen for him. Poor rookie couldn't buy a touchdown, his first touchdown here. Defensive tackle down here, 97. He does a great job. This guy right in the middle. Watch what he does. Like, I haven't seen this since like teams run wing T stuff and they're trying to stop it. He's just gonna dive at the ground here and cause Dotson here to fall and just mucking everything up. Like, the play is dead here in the middle, dives in the middle, allows 3 runners here and here, and Blake Corum's just not big enough. He kind of gets tossed around in the middle. I'm not smart enough to know how you counter that, but just also watching, you got double A gap tackles between Limmer and Bruss. You would just hope they can move something. Just nothing gets moved, man. And again, that same thing happened last drive that we looked at. Even on the touchdown on this next play, you're going to notice there's not a lot of movement up front. Getting a similar front here, tightening the gaps. Dives over a few players, gets in the end zone. Kyron Williams is a freaking wizard, man. Again, my emphasis is going to be on these 3 here in the middle. They're dealing with a shitty situation. It's never fun when you got gap tied up front. Not fun at all as a center looking up and seeing that. Oh, man. Kyron Williams getting in there is miraculous because he just dives into Packers' arms. Momentum just gets him in there. 60. Gets stonewalled, man. So Kyron's good enough to be able to squeeze through here, luckily. But the point of attack here just getting stood up and put in the way. He's got to dive over his own guy to get in there. And he gets some good push, though. I like that. I know goal line's always messy. And again, looking at it last here, slowing it down always looks worse. But it's just a consistent thing. Consistently seeing these guys getting pushed back, point of attack, seemed to be a problem for them. So unfortunately, the run game was not the only part the O-line was struggling in. Even on the critical interception Matthew Stafford threw in the third quarter, a little bit of that's because of pressure from the defensive line, and a good play by McKinney here. He got the best of Stafford. You're going to see in this play, Stafford is just going to be staring directly at him the whole time, head downfield. He's going to throw this ball to Tutu Atwell in the corner. It's going to get picked. This whole play, McKinney's sitting, and jumps it. Almost like he ran the route, right? 3rd and long on this one. You're hoping maybe get a few yards, get some field goal range. This eventually is basically an arm punt, but it's unfortunate that he gets so many yards in the run back that, rather than starting at the 10 or the 20, just like a 30, 40 yard flip and momentum. Just a hats off to McKinney here. Stafford, with his limited time in the pocket, he's trying to just stare at him the whole time. He's hoping that the more he stares at him, he's going to trail this way or stay center, so that way as Tutu comes downfield, He can toss this ball far, incomplete, cause a PI, but definitely not an interception. Looking at the end zone cam, yeah, man, the communication between a lot of these guys in the interior, all you're going to get here, 96 here in the middle, he's going to kamikaze and just literally, he's not going after the quarterback. He's just going at the side of Limmer. Why? Remember we talked about stunts last week? His job is to take his blocker, 60, along with him and just run into another lineman, because that's going to free up his guy to loop around here. Free shot at the quarterback. Let's watch it. Bam! Oof. That right there, that timing, that lack of an extra half second or a second is why that interception happens. Great play call by the Packers, but you got to get something better, man. Too frequent were they bringing just 4-man pressure with just one stunt. A very simple 2-man play here between two guys. Like, there's no other. Hey, correct me if I'm wrong. Somebody smarter than me, please. Like, there's not a threat on this left side. There's 1, 2, 3. Right? So worst case, you block 1, 2, 3, which starts initially, right? I'm gonna assume Russ has got to know he's got no one else as a threat out here that's gonna run through here. If your guy is gonna aggressively leave horizontally, like not even rushing the quarterback, but just leaving you, and you should have some sort of sense, with more experience. I'm assuming you get a sense of like, oh man, this feels like a stunt. Like he's leaving too laterally. If something's leaving you, someone's coming to replace, right? Leave and replace. That's what causes him to be so late back to it. Yeah. By the time 60 here recognizes what's happened, it is far too late. One more time. Oh no. This one, Xavier Smith logged his first and second NFL receptions. Fortunately, this one, -5 yards. We're going to break it down, though. Just another missed opportunity by the offensive line. Good play call. And, when I first saw it live, I'm like, oh, damn. Why did our boy X get hit like that? And when I watch it back in this all-22, I say, what could have been? Because in my mind, this could be running down a sideline for a touchdown. Like, I actually think it's a great play call. So, breaking it down, you just saw it. Xavier Smith's going to come down in motion. He's going to run flat, turn around, catch a screen pass here. The only guy that's going to come out the block, which I like the concept, is the center. Limmer's going to come down the line. And if it's not a corner, his job is just to get the most dangerous guy. So let's run it through here. 50 comes down the line. This is the most dangerous guy. The guy who is just the obvious person to go make the tackle. Right? Like, I'm not crazy. So when I play this back, I want you to watch the speed of Limmer. Seems a little indecisive. Kind of hesitates. Definitely hesitates at the end there. Misses a potential block there. Because I want you to think, if this guy right here, if Limmer gets out here to make this tackle, or this block, even if it's not a pancake block, if he just gets in the way, right? Let's say right here. Let's say this is blocked as he's catching the ball. Okay? Imagine this Packers player is not here because he's at least engaged with him and blocked. Where else is there a Packer to make this play? Who's this? 56? Inside linebacker? Or this guy down here, the safety, who Demarcus Robinson is going to have a hand on here in a second. So, Xavier Smith, who runs a 4-4, very shifty punt returner, has the ball in space. If this is at least engaged here, one of two things is going to happen. Xavier Smith is going to choose to go outside. And if he can avoid this guy, if there's at least a decent block, you mean you tell me he's in a race with 56 here down the sideline? I'm going to put my money on Xavier. Even if he decides to take this ball and go inside here, his job, and it's an open field, like, move. Like, that's what you want. Make a play. You're a shifty receiver against an inside linebacker. Someone's going to win. I'd still put my money on a playmaker receiver. It just kind of disappoints me, man. Great play call to the right personnel, too. If 50 speeds out there, like, you want to see him barreling down. Like, even if he doesn't make this block here, right? In my mind, I'm assuming you want to be full steam ahead, affect this guy to now worry about you. Make him worry about having to go around you. Make him afraid of you. Rather than just, okay, I'm just going to go make this tackle for 5 yards. I know I'm making this sound very simple. Like, oh yeah, just go block an NFL corner. Well, you're an NFL lineman. Man, I'm getting close to wrapping up kind of some of the offensive woes of why they were in the situation they were in this game. Start of the fourth quarter, the Rams are down 24-13. 3rd and 6 here, but they're on the edge of field goal range. Cardi was hitting these from pregame so he can make this. Even if you don't pick up the first down, make it 4th and short, maybe kick a long field goal. But you take a sack on this play instead. And I picked this play because it's kind of an amalgam of all the current problems with this offense right now. You're going to get, McVay's concepts of on this 3rd and 6. I feel that all the routes are a little, maybe a little deeper than necessary, based on the issues you're having on O-line already. So O-line communication is unable to pick up the blitz to give Stafford enough time. And then Stafford goes away from his, maybe first read. Maybe he didn't trust it. Maybe he wasn't expecting that collision that we're going to break down that Whittington caused in coverage. All those things combined, at a critical point in the game is kind of a summary of what's been happening to this offense through 5 weeks. Just everything's off. You get maybe just a little bit wrong on the play call. Maybe you only get a little bit wrong on a block. And you get a little bit wrong on your passing read. Those 3 little, miscues combined equate to a sack, equate to a thrown, a tipped ball. This really is a game of inches. Sometimes it's that unfortunate for a team. Right, what we are going to get here, though, on this passing concept, Robinson's going to run a deep in. Tutu's going to kind of run him off here in the deep kind of corner. Whittington down here at the bottom is going to cause a collision about right here with 2 DBs, which actually gets Parkinson open down here, which completed, looked like it could be a first down. What does happen, though, again, up front, these blitzes, man, the blitzes end up getting to them. They bring 5, they bring 6. You're getting crosses everywhere, just confusing the offensive line all over the place. We'll look at the offensive line in a second, but let's kind of look down here at Whittington. Take a look at the collision that he causes down here at the bottom that does get Parkinson open. Stafford's looking at him. He pump fakes. I don't know, man. This was a weird one to me. Lack of trust. I don't know. I'm gonna pause it right when he looks at it. Right here, he recognizes his arm's starting to move. The collision hasn't happened yet. He's maybe coming open. Maybe he doesn't trust it. Maybe he can't see this guy, how deep he is. Ends up pump faking it as if maybe, but doesn't throw it, and goes away from it. Unfortunate. Regardless of the reasoning, you got chalked it up as a misread. That's a missed first down here to Mr. Parkinson. All right, so there's a lot that's going to happen down here. You're going to get kind of as like 2 different blitzes here. Sets of 3. So you got 6. We also have it against 6. Like they got 6 on 6. Better communication. I think better strength up front. End up blocking this. But the key guys end up getting free. The end down here ends up beating Havenstein around the edge. And then 90 plays the long game. He's the cavalry at the end. He's going to end up pushing, hesitating for a second, letting these guys crash down, and then he's just going to work all the way around. Eventually, these 2 are going to meet Stafford in the backfield. Let's take a look. Hold. Works around the side. Pushes him into his boy. Gets a hand on Stafford. That sucks, man. Because this is, again, critical point. Like, you're down by 11. You're almost at the edge of field goal range. This is now the second time in this game. More time, though. Just not handling it very well. Last two plays. This is actually two of the last three plays of the game on offense for the Rams. They started clawing back. Stafford's making his 2-minute drill like he does so many times. There's a minute 17 left. This is 2nd and 5. They're in field goal range, but got to score a touchdown to win. Remember we looked at earlier. The Packers lined up in this exact same front. Wide 9. What happened? They're going to run a stunt. Let's see if it happens here on the inside. Oh, look. There was another stunt, and the guy comes free. Before we break that down further, what I want to show you, I want to tell you, it's a game of inches. It's a game of milliseconds of this game. You know, even though Stafford potentially pumps deep right here, pump fake, the rub route up top was so phenomenal. Kyren Williams is open for a touchdown here. Kyren Williams down here is open and running. These two kind of run off these guys, just make it all messy, and then Kyren Williams just runs right underneath. Just take a look at this part real quick. He's just running. So frustrating. There's no one there. And he is faster than Quay Walker. Quay Walker is very fast, but he's faster than Quay Walker. End zone view. You know what it is. Stunt coming around. Man. Yeah. Hindsight again being perfect, but this guy's going to crash down, take out two guys. He's going to loop all the way around here and get home. Very frustrating, man. The show 56 late. This guy's playing Twister. 94 is just running free. Back it up a little bit, though. 60 knows he's going to help. He just whiffs, man. Logan Bruss, he took a 0. He got a 0 on PFF this week because he had a lot of these. Yeah, he locks him up. He's going to lock him up. He's assuming he doesn't know if this guy is 56 is blitzing. He's kind of unsure. The way he kind of plays it, but he passes it off and then sees his guy. He think that's just fine. All Bruss has to do is just kind of stand in the way. He doesn't have to lunge like that. He just kind of freeze frame here. Freeze frame here. 94 comes around, he's just gonna stonewall right into him. Even if 94 runs through his chest and they both fall, they're falling right here. And Stafford still has a clean pocket to where now he can step in, decide to make the throw. Maybe the safety was there. I'm glad he didn't throw it because it probably would have been a pick. But now it's like, what do? I don't have time to even look at Kyren Williams running open here because Bruss is over here taking a knee. That sucks, man. That makes it harder. I think it ends up being like 3rd and 16. They get some yards back, but it sets up a really, really bad situation. A 4th down, which we're going to look at really quickly. All right, and then the final play for the Rams on offense, 4th and 5, got to have it. They end up throwing slant route right here to Parkinson, just out of his reach. I like to think that if Stafford had the time, he'd probably put this more central to Parkinson's body. And if he catches it at the 1st down marker, it's probably 1st down. No PI. That's just good defense. The issue, though, is he didn't have the time because you're going to watch 56 pressure him last second. He's got to kind of throw it quicker than he anticipates. More of a flick of the wrist play than it is a full, as accurate as throw as we know Stafford can make. Caused by, guess what it was? It was another stunt. Look at this, man. But rather than just plain old stunt right here like they did last time and the other play that was successful in sacks. This is a 3-man game. So 97 here and 94. They're going to work across twice. Work across twice. 56 is going to loop all the way around. Now, the communication again, like the fact they called this in the you gotta have it, like this is you call your best defensive play. This worked all day for them because these three had no answer, unfortunately. Don't know how exactly you're supposed to fix that. More game reps, better communication. Don't know. I like to think the starters that are missing and Jackson and Avila would pick this up a little bit better. But you're going to notice when 97 crosses here, it's fine at first. Limmer recognizes, all right, come home. But Bruss doesn't realize the same thing, and he commits to 94. That's the whole purpose of a stunt. Crossing an offensive lineman's face and getting him to commit to you as a lineman so that way the next guy can come free. They work it perfectly, man. 94, bro. 94 on Bruss is what got him. Committed. Bruss is late. Guy gets in Stafford's face. It's not always a sack that wins a game. It's just not letting a very good quarterback have the time needed to prolong a game. Packers call their best defensive play when they needed it. Rams, man, I really hope they figure out this offensive line situation. It did some good things better. Still a lot of miscues. Hope the bye week really works like it did last year. I'm going to do a deeper dive on tomorrow's episode on some good things that they did, some other troubling things on offense, and then we're going to do every Rams fan current favorite, the defense. So thanks, guys, for watching. I hope you like this recap. And subscribe, do all the fun stuff, and I will see you next episode. Thank you. Love you.